So good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to welcome you to Meet the Artists with the Wagner Ensemble. We'll be getting started in just a few minutes, so please leave your cameras on and put your audio on mute so we can get the best sound quality for tonight's show. And with that, I am very pleased to introduce our special hosts for tonight's show, former KCAL anchor Sylvia Lopez and TV producer Joe Ferrullo. So over to you, Sylvia and Joe.
Thank you so much, Maureen. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and we're just thrilled to be a part of this. To see all of your smiling, beautiful faces is wonderful. Developing the sense of community again, being part of music, supporting music is something that makes us really, really very happy. So a little bit about myself. Probably the most important thing you need to know is I've been a big fan of Jeannine Wagner's for more than 20 years, ever since we moved to the San Fernando Valley. As you heard, I'm also a former anchor and reporter on KCAL, Channel 9, and KCBS Channel 2, where I worked for more than 30 years. However, a few years ago, I left TV news. I went back to school, kind of crazy, I know, got my master's in public health. And now I work at UCLA at the Fielding School of Public Health and the Johnson Comprehensive Cancer Center, where I'm mostly talking to a lot of people about COVID and the pandemic these days. But it's very fulfilling and I really enjoy my work. And this amazing person sitting next to me is Joe Ferrullo, my husband, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself.
Well, that's the most important thing about myself, is that I'm Sylvia's husband. The second most important thing is I'm even a bigger fan of Jeannine's than Sylvia is.
No, you're not.
It's true.
No, you're not.
We know her music, and we've known it for 2 decades now, going to St. Francis de Sales Parish here in Sherman Oaks, where she's been the choir master for all that time, and brings her special taste and dedication to music to Mass every week, which has been a treat for us and is a treat for everyone at that parish. It's a rare thing to have a choir of that quality, and we all appreciate it very, very much. I was in the news business like Sylvia for many, many years. I was a producer at Dateline NBC for over a decade. And then for the last 13 years, I was an executive vice president of programming at CBS, where I oversaw a lot of programs that hopefully a lot of you watch. For the last year or so, I've written a column for a Washington, D.C. newspaper called The Hill about media and politics, which was a lot of fun to do during this incredible campaign we've just gone through. Not as much fun as this will be tonight, though. It's really going to be a great, great night of great music. Let's introduce Jeannine Wagner. Jeannine, hello.
Hi, it's so good to see you again.
There you are.
There we go. We don't recognize her, not in the choir loft at St. Francis de Sales.
I know. Seeing you face to
in the
face.
front of me and not the back of me.
Yes, not looking up at you, not looking up into the heavens.
Well, we still look up to you, Jeannine.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Well, what a joy it is to be reunited with the old acquaintances, and I'm so thrilled that you could do this tonight. And I'm so thrilled that we can do it tonight. And yes, thank you for all the production team for your expertise in bringing this off. So we're going to start with Krista Stevens. I'm blessed to have a whole cadre of wonderful sopranos in my group. And you're going to hear 2 of them tonight. One is Krista Stevens and one is Julia Hwang. And Krista recorded her recital that you're going to hear tonight in Austria.
Wow.
So Krista, how did you find it recording in Austria? You're muted.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Cool. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, I had the unique opportunity of going to Austria in the middle of a pandemic. It was an interesting journey. I, like most other musicians that I knew, had just a deluge of cancellations once the pandemic hit. And so, I had started making some contacts in Austria, and I just made the choice to go and try to continue to develop my connections over there. It was interesting because when I got there, there were some restrictions in place, but the country wasn't in lockdown. And what happened is about a month, a little after, maybe 5 weeks after I got there, the country went back into lockdown. So I wasn't able to do as many auditions and such outside of Austria that I wanted to do, but I still made a lot of contacts. And even though performances were not permissible, we were allowed to do recordings. And so along with tenor Marco Lozano, we actually are co-administrators of Opera on Tap Vienna, which is exciting because it's the first Austrian chapter of Opera on Tap. So along with some excellent colleagues, we were able to make a beautiful recording in the historic Peterskirche in Vienna and do some other projects. And one of those projects was creating a program for Jeannine. So now I'm fortunate because obviously I have my Wagner Ensemble family and my professional engagements here, which are slowly starting to pick up. And then now I have opportunities over there. So I feel very fortunate because traveling is wonderful and learning German's exciting. And, you know, I feel like I get to kind of live in two different worlds. So it's a lot of fun.
Great.
Krista, tell us, how did you connect with Jeannine? I mean, obviously the Wagner Ensemble is well known, but how did you reach out and become part of it?
Well, when I was a child, I grew up in a musical family. And so when I was a child, I tell Jeannine this, I'm not making this up. There was a Christmas album of her father's, Roger Wagner Chorale Christmas album. And I listened to it all the time. I loved it. My favorite piece was, we performed it in France. What was it? The Hodier. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jeannine?
Yes, Sveiling.
Yes, that was my favorite piece. And I used to listen to it over. I listened to it to the point where it was so scratched up, we couldn't listen. We had to eventually part with it because I wore it out. But I was familiar with the Roger Wagner chorale from the time that I was literally a child. So after graduate school, when I started developing my career in LA, I don't know how exactly I came across Jeannine. I just somehow I knew about her, and so I contacted her.
Wow.
And I asked if I could audition for her because I wasn't the kind of person that was going to wait for people to knock on my door. I was like, well, I've got to knock on doors. So I've always kind of been like that. So she granted me an audition and I sang for her. And I remember what you said to me. I'm totally a soprano, but Jeannine, I remember you said, I'm intrigued by your low notes. Do you remember you told me that a long time ago? And so she put me in the Wagner Ensemble as one of her vocalists. And I think that was, gosh, I want to say like 2013 or something. It's been a while. And one of the early things that I got to do was be the soprano soloist in a performance of The Seasons by Haydn, which was very exciting. It's a huge sing. And I had been rehearsing as an ensemble member, and then she needed a soprano soloist, and I auditioned and she gave it to me. So that was super cool. And so I've had some other really wonderful opportunities. Actually about 2 years ago, I can't believe it's been almost 2 years, we went on tour to France. And that was super special. I mean, I love France. I love French culture. I got to meet some of Jeannine's wonderful family that's still in France. And I got to also be the soprano soloist on that tour. So that was really neat because I got to sing and hear my voice resonate in Chartres Cathedral and all these amazing spaces. So even though the weather, that when we were on the tour, the weather was unseasonably cold, they were having this bizarre, like, cold spell. And I actually got kind of sick. But somehow when I had to do my solos for each of those concerts, I was able, just because of where it sat in my range, I was able to like crank it out. Jeannine was like, can you do it? I'm like, yep. And somehow I was able to make it through my solos. So that was very special. And one of the things I've really missed during the pandemic has been, being able, to sing with her, because I really do consider the Wagner Ensemble to be my musical family in LA. It's more than just an ensemble. We have very close friendships, and so being a part of this is very exciting. And I was thrilled when she asked me to record something when I was overseas. And so I'm very happy to be here.
Krista, thank you so much. We are so happy to have you here as well.
Thank
But
you.
I think our producers at this point are probably like, you know, if I were on TV, they'd be screaming in my earpiece right now because we're kind of going off script a little bit.
Oh, okay.
We're just gonna take a quick moment to
Sure.
introduce Julia Wang right now. And if that's okay, I know we'd have to do a little switching, but there we go. Hi, Julia. We wanted to give you a moment to introduce yourself as well. We were supposed to do the introductions and then take care of some of these other little matters that we're supposed to tell our audience. But like I said, we're off script, which is fine, but we'd love for you to introduce yourself right now.
Thank you, Sylvia. Hello, everyone. My name is Julia Hwang, soloist of Wagner Ensemble and Rosa Wagner Chorale. I came from Korea to continue singing and my music study here in the United States to having my career with a dream to be a great singer. After I studied and earned my master's degree from KCAL Arts, I gone on to a performance tour with Rosa Wagner Chorale in Asia under the direction of Jeannine Wagner for a number of times since 2011. And I also gone on the tour with this in Asia with British regimental bands since 2011. I don't know, I'm very privileged to perform wonderful venues from here, Los Angeles, Red Cat, at Walt Disney Concert Hall, to other amazing venues, including Russia, Malaysia, China, Japan, in Korea, with various orchestras. I was supposed to perform Yerevan, Armenia for Music Festival last year, June actually, but it was canceled. But I will resume to go on tour with the British Regimental Band this year. I'm very excited about it. And also I'm so pleased and feel so honored to be here with our director, Jeannine Wagner, and my colleague, Krista, to meet everyone. And thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. We're going to hear some music in just a moment. But first, let me just remind you, we're going to hear from our guests for the next 40 minutes or so. We're going to hear some music from both of our singers. We ask you again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat area, and we'll get to them in the course of the program for sure. Please stay on mute for the duration of the program, though, so that everyone here can be heard clearly. Krista, can you just tell us a little bit about the first piece we're going to be hearing from you?
Yes, so I will be singing If Music Be the Food of Love, and this is by Henry Purcell.
All right.
And I'm joined, I should mention, I'm joined by my wonderful colleague, Lindsay Huff-Bright-Schedel. She will be joining us on piano. We actually went to college together, and we were in Sigma Alpha Iota together, and we got reconnected in Vienna. So it was really a treat for her to be able to join us for this.
Excellent.
Then my listening soul you move.
Zoom applause.
Beautiful.
Zoom applause.
What a beautiful setting as well. Spectacular.
Yeah, that's one nice thing about Vienna is there's no shortage of beautiful spaces for recording and such. So got very lucky there.
Do you feel like it's a place where you want to spend more time after the pandemic and you're able to, choose where you want to live and where you want to travel?
Yes, well, I actually do have some concerts lined up in Austria for next season. So, like I said, right now we're kind of waiting to see how the vaccine rollout and everything will work, but my concerts are more next season. So there's, there's a couple of fall concerts and then a concert set for next spring. So I really do want to be in both places because I do have good work here. I want to keep working with Jeannine, and I have some other work and such. And I really want to be able to be a part of that and continue to have that. But now that I'm making more connections in Europe, I want to continue to develop this other aspect of my career there. So, and hopefully outside of Europe as well. I've kind of been, before the pandemic, so focused on California because it's just, I had so many opportunities here. And then when the pandemic hit, it kind of got me out. And when I went there, some good things have started happening. So I really would like to go back and forth and probably keep LA as my home base, but then, be able to go for my obligations there as well.
Silver lining. Very nice.
Yes.
I want to remind those of you who are joining us on Zoom that tonight's show is a fundraiser. And, we all know, and I'm sure all of you know much better than me, how much musical performance has suffered, how much musical artists have suffered during the pandemic. For us, we really suffer because we can't hear these beautiful live performances, but we know it's so much harder on those of you who make a living out of doing this. So again, we just want to remind everyone that this is a fundraiser. We know that other arts organizations like the Wagner Ensemble have been hit very, very hard by the pandemic and that many, many musicians are struggling to get by. And we want to remind you that you can help by donating anytime at wagnerensemble.org. And once again, it's wagnerensemble.org. And Jeannine, I wanted to come back to you. I know a lot of people that are joining us are big fans of yours, and they probably know a lot about you and how you started the ensemble. But can you take us through that once again? Maybe tell us the highlights, how you began, and how it now has evolved over the years.
30 years later.
Wow, that's right. That's right. I can hardly believe that it's been 30 years. Well, it was formed by my father originally as a vehicle for touring in other countries. And so he formed, it was called then the Roger Wagner Choral Touring Ensemble. And so the Los Angeles Choral Touring Ensemble. And so as things progressed, he became too ill to continue, and I took over as I did the Roger Wagner Chorale for him. And so we changed the name to reflect the fact that both of us were conducting to the Wagner Ensemble. And so I've come more and more to appreciate the wonderful legacy that he gave me in both my musical training and the opportunities that I have to make music throughout my life. It's certainly been a passion as well as an opportunity to make money. So it's they say if you love what you do, you're not really going to work. So, and that's certainly true for me. It's my work and it's also my passion. So we've had the opportunity to do all kinds of music from Los Angeles composers as well as music of the ages. And it's part of our mission statement that we want to show how music of all ages is connected. And so I'm very happy about the research that's come across lately that shows that music is good for the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
both in developing people, young people, and also in keeping the spirits up of people who are older. So it's been a remarkable opportunity for me to do what I love.
Thank you, Jeannine. Thank you very much. Honestly, it's been an incredible privilege for Sylvia and I to listen to her music over the many years we've been at St. Francis. And we can't wait for live performances to start again so we can see the ensemble do what they do.
Yes.
Speaking of, so Kristen, you have another piece of music to play for us.
Yes, so this is a beautiful French piece called Bonsoir by Debussy. And again, I'm joined by my wonderful pianist, Lindsay Huff-Brightshittle. So I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kristen. Beautiful music.
Thank you.
And Julia Wang right now. Again, Julia you met briefly earlier. She's also a soprano with the ensemble from Korea, living now in Los Angeles. Julia, tell us what went into your decision to come to the US and to come to Los Angeles to pursue your music?
Well, to be honest with you, when I was in Korea, there are a lot of options to go abroad, other countries to study.
Absolutely.
A lot of my folks in Korea went to Italy, and Germany was popular choice. And of course, France. Some went to Russia, but I chose to America because I believe that America has the best music school in the world. And like America itself is united with this great cultures from everywhere. And I really drawn to that attraction. And at that time I was studying English. Actually, you know, in Korea, the second language is Korean, I mean the English.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to come here and try out. my dream and career. And I'm here.
Were you surprised at the strength and influence of the Korean community here in the US and in Los Angeles?
Oh, yes, hugely, yes.
Yeah,
well, when I came here at first, you know, I tried not to meet a lot of Koreans because I need to learn language, learn culture.
Mhm.
I need to meet some American boyfriends, not Koreans. So I was so busy to catch up with the cultures, language, people, education. So I just wanted to observe everything about this nativity of America as much as I can. Because I came to America not too young. I came here like early 20s. So that was my mission.
And
But
you came by yourself? You came all by yourself?
all by myself. And I don't know. I mean, what was I thinking? But I was lucky to get into the really good school and surrounded by good people, teachers, mentor, and all those my colleagues are from everywhere.
wow.
That was beauty about this country. And I learned a lot, and I really appreciate all this education I gained in this country. And I'm so proud of it.
Before we hear your performance, I love to hear how you first discovered that you loved music and when music, as you remember it, first really became your passion and your focus.
Well, I have to say, I discovered my love of music in very early age. I started learning piano at the age of 5 with my sister. And, you know, I didn't really care about having dolls or anything like that. Just piano, making music was really big thing for me and my sister. And I grew up performing a lot early age for competition, music recital, for any occasion in front of family and relatives. And performance became so natural to me with my sister. And I knew that, you know, one performance I did when I was very early still in Korea, I knew that moment that I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. And I just love and enjoy being on stage and performing. That's why I'm here.
So Julia, I wanted to give a shout out to your sister Yunju, who is in attendance today, as well, and she is playing piano on this selection, and also our hornist Yasuo Imase, who is also with us today. So greetings to you both. We're so glad that you're here. And Julia, did you have any difficulties in putting this piece together with your sister in Korea and the hornist Yasuo Imase in Japan?
Absolutely. This particular piece, again, I was supposed to perform in Armenia, Yerevan, for Alexander Harutyunian International Music Festival there. But it was canceled. And me and Yasuo-san, Yasuo Imase, Mr. Imase, and my sister, we decided to, hey, let's just keep collaborating and making something because we're gonna perform this in the future. So we did it with the help of technology. And first of all, the original key of this song is E flat major. E major. And the music I have was E flat major. It's half step different. So, well, what's the big deal? I have only this music E flat major. Maybe we can collaborate with this particular key. And Mr. Imase, horn player, no way. He insisted we're gonna do this with the original key in E major. And he said, because this is the original key, the Schubert wanted to do this. And most of all, usually in the song, the singer is the main character, but not in this piece. The French horn player is the most biggest part, not lesser than singer. And that's very rare about this piece. And the Schubert also, Beethoven and Schumann, you know, this great composer knows about E major key is the key of horn, the instrument to expressing the excellence. So I gave in to honor the composer's intention. And that was really hard. I mean, E flat is here, E is here. However, as your singer, your voice doesn't recognize the same song. It's so different. And E major has a brighter sound, and you have to deal with a lot of high notes. I wouldn't say very high note, but everything melodic line sits on very high. So that's very demanding for singer. And maybe that's the factor why we don't listen to any singers perform this song often enough. But I'm so proud of my player, my sister Yunju Hwang and Mr. Imase. We collaborate beautifully. And this is the perfect example about, you know, the joy of collaboration. It doesn't matter where you are. You are in Korea, you are in Japan, I'm in Los Angeles, United States. But, you know, we did all together and overcome these obstacles.
I love your passion. I love your passion. I love your energy, and I can't wait to hear the song. So should we hear it now? Spectacular, spectacular. I mean, not even knowing anything about keys, I could see what you mean.
Well,
But how challenging and how spectacularly you rose to that challenge. And the horn and the piano all Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much,
so
Julia. We do want to remind you that this is a fundraiser, and I want to make another plug. You can donate at any time at wagnerensemble.com. And we also, excuse me, .org, not .com, wagnerensemble.org. And I also, we have a few minutes for some questions. And so we wanted to remind you that you can put your questions into the chat, and Joe and I will read them. And we had one that was actually quite intriguing.
From Mark.
From Mark, who was mentioning in the chat that one of our performers, Krista, had COVID early on.
Yes.
And just, you know, what was that like? And do you feel like you've regained your voice since then? Did it have an impact on your performing?
Yeah, well, when I had COVID, I mean, I was obviously quarantining and so I, you know, I wasn't doing any singing, but once I recovered, I had, how long after? I had some recording gigs shortly after I recovered. I would say maybe a month. And I was a little nervous, you know, because everyone talked about, I mean, I had it kind of early on, so there wasn't the knowledge that there is now about it. But because everyone was talking about how it hit the respiratory system and such, I was concerned about that. And my voice recovered pretty well. It was a little out of shape just because I hadn't sung in a while. I mean, normally I sing all the time, you know, so it was like, you know, it's just, I sing all the time, but I hadn't sung in a couple of months really because I was sick, because I was in quarantine. I was in isolation for a while because I really didn't want to be out in public again until I felt better. I probably had already, I would have been negative, but I just wasn't feeling well. So it was a little challenging, but honestly, I bounced back pretty quickly. And then as time went on, you know, I recorded music for my singing engagement that I have for the Jewish High Holy Days. They didn't have live services, so the staff singers, we recorded the music remotely. And so I did some, and then I did a couple other projects. So yeah, I did those. And then by the time I made the recordings in Europe, I was certainly a lot better. And it was interesting because I actually got some work from California. So I got a couple of gigs over there from people here because they knew I was there and they wanted to give me some work and kind of create some cool projects. So like I said, I mean, even though, you know, I was able to do a little bit of stuff like right when I got to Austria and then things kind of changed, I was able to still do some recordings and get into these beautiful spaces. And actually on the Facebook page for Opera on Tap Vienna, there's a project we made called Advent in Vienna. And that was gorgeous because it was in this beautiful church. And that recording project was pretty amazing. So now I feel, now that I'm starting to sing a little bit more again, I feel pretty much, you know, back to myself. I mean, I still feel a little tired, and now I'm contending more with allergies, which I'm accustomed to, but no, I feel like, you know, thankfully, like, thank God, my voice recovered pretty well. So, and I actually feel like I'm in good voice. I was able to do a very important audition actually when I was in Austria, and the feedback that I got, generally the feedback I've gotten from Austria has been amazing. I mean, I sang for I got to audition for a very important Festspiele, and I got incredible feedback. I mean, you know, one of the people that heard me sing was like, you need to be singing Verdi and Wagner and then go all over Europe and audition, you know, with it. And I was not expecting anything like that. So I must say that the feedback I've gotten and the things that have come along since I've been sick I've been very fortunate.
Thank God for that. I mean, honestly, what a great gift after having gone through a fighting period.
Yes.
My God.
Yeah. Yes.
Speaking of performances, if I might, we have a question in for Julia. Folks asking, what are your future performance plans? What do you see coming up?
Well, I think I mentioned briefly when I was introducing myself. I have a performance coming with British Regimental Band, this time with the Coldstream Guards, Queen's Marching Band. We're gonna tour in Japan, and I'm doing this since 2013. And become a family there too. So I'm so excited to do this year. Very much.
Yay.
Well, thank you all so very much. I just wanted to, we're going to wrap up pretty soon. I wanted to just ask you, all three of you, if you have any closing remarks, now that we see some hope and we see that lives are beginning to return to some semblance of normal. Are there any closing words that you have for us in the last few minutes here? Jeannine? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say, now you know how lucky I am that I have these two brilliantly talented sopranos, the singers in my group. And we are all hoping that we can get together soon and perform. A small group of us will perform for the next Meet the Artist event, which is on May 23rd. And so we are getting together to tape together, and I think we will all have a great party with all the vaccinated singers singing together.
Yay!
And so we're very excited about that. And then my wonderful board has been assisting me in planning our coming seasons. And we're hoping, we have it planned, and we hope that we can accomplish it, to do a Christmas program at the end of this year. So I'm hoping that in September we'll be able to start rehearsing together again, and then doing our Christmas concert in December. So that's the plan.
Right.
We hope it happens.
Julie.
Yes, Julie.
First of all, I wanted to say thank you so much for having me here and meeting Sylvia and Joe, having Krista with our dear, just amazing director, Jeannine Wagner, and I'm so blessed to be here. And before I go, I wanted to surprise everyone that the sister who played piano, she's a composer and conductor in Korea, and she is my identical twin sister.
Oh.
That's pretty cool. That's
both
great.
And both with enormous talent.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Hell, I was just fascinated to look at your two faces and see similarity.
And Krista.
Yes, well, thank you. It was wonderful to meet you, Sylvia and Joe. I really appreciate you taking your time and energy to be a part of this. It was a treat. And Jeannine, thank you. I say all the time that Jeannine is, I mean, the Wagner Ensemble is truly my musical family, and Jeannine is just one of the most wonderful people. I've been fortunate to work with a lot of people in this industry, and Jeannine is just one of the people that I absolutely have the most respect for. And I'm glad that we're on the upswing. I'm hoping and praying that the situation in Europe turns around, and that people can be vaccinated on a large scale. And I know there's just been a thirst for music to resume in the arts and everything. So Europe is definitely on my mind. And I really look forward to the opportunities here. Jeannine, I look forward to seeing you soon. I'm so happy that I'm fully vaccinated. And it makes me so happy that I'm going to get to see my musical family soon. And I really look forward to the future and being able to just hug people. And, you know, we artistic people, you know, we have to be around other artistic people. You know, so many of us are like extroverts, and we need the energy of fellow artists. And so when we're in isolation, it can be very depressing, you know. So I'm very happy that we're going to be able to gather soon. And thank you for this really, truly remarkable opportunity.
Thank you, Krista and Julia and Jeannine. Thank you, and thank all of the amazing people who put this together this evening. It was a pleasure and an honor for us to be a part of this. And your work, your music, your talent made us so happy and filled us with love. Just the way I'm sure it did for all of the people that are joining us this evening.
It was beautiful. I think we have another piece of music from Krista to play us out, but thanks to all three of you, and Jeannine, especially to you. And thank you for asking us to be part of this. It's been an incredible honor. Thank you.
Thank you.